We got the goods in from Speedway today. Just in the nick of time too, because we're needing some parts to finish up our burnout car. What we're working on right now is getting our quick disconnect steering wheel put on. It's a little adapter that we ordered from Speedway Motors, and it came in. It's a weld-on type bracket. So we've got the steering wheel and everything off now, and Richard's fixing to put the sleeve on and weld it to the steering shaft. And then this little adapter right here will go on, steering wheel bolts to it, and then the removable steering wheel, just push a button, off comes the steering wheel. It'll make it a lot easier as far as getting in and out of the car, because we still got the front down bars to do on the cage, like the rear ones, except for the front ones will come down there in front of your legs. So getting in and out of this, even with just a race seat, is difficult. Get it tacked on?
Yeah, it's just got one tack on it for right now. That looks pretty centered, pretty good.
Maybe that's gonna hold her.
She ain't gonna go nowhere.
Those steering wheels are a good thing when you're slaying around the burnout pit.
Yeah. So get this grinder and clean that up a little bit. So looks pretty.
We melt the internals, or feel like the blinker still works?
Still works.
Good. Because also using your blinker in the burnout pit is also very important.
Hey, you're the one that still wanted it there.
Well, you never know if you're going to get pulled over while you're out there doing that, you know?
Right.
Officer, I was using my blinker.
Exactly.
We got our fuel cell from Holly. We're using a twin fuel pump setup, and so the hole here is exactly where the fuel pump needs to set, because the tank's baffled inside, but we need to make the hole larger. So right now what we're going to do is take out this fill spout and the access panel here. I'm going to try to get up in there and tape something on the inside to catch most of the metal shavings, and then we're going to take a little rip saw and make this hole bigger. So we're getting ready to cut our hole, attempt to cut our hole. I think what I'm gonna do, Jason, is start where I don't really need to be and just see how it is. I think I'm gonna need you to hold it, yeah. You got it there? Do you have any Allen head sockets over here, Nate?
Couple up top.
Alright, Jason and I are trying to get the mounting tabs in here for the gas tank, and well, it's some precision measuring at its finest. And with quality tools like this, it makes this job so much easier.
I'll take it apart and see if we can
Now get the hammer. Here, is this one that works?
No, that is the bad one. Wherever you buckle, it's going to find you.
Yeah, the dot on the right. Come on, baby. There it is. You've been punched. What to do is we've got our tabs mounted on. You can see here where our straps are going to come around the tank and bolt up to these tabs, but we want to add some reinforcement to it underneath, so we're just going to weld in a piece of this same 1-inch square tubing, and that'll make this thing really, really sturdy.
Straighten that or just roll?
No, go ahead and put the square tubing on it. Just don't tack it to that back bar. So there's a little bit of gap right here is what you're saying? Yeah. It's because of that self-tapping screw up there. Well, once that bar's in there, we'll pull that self-tapping screw out, and then it should set back down flat. And then when it's welded solid, it'll give us a good gap to weld in.
Ah, battery's gone.
Drill press.
Isn't it going to be a little different once you get rubber and this split?
That still compresses. All right, Nathan got our calipers coated, our center section coated with our caliper coating. And man, I gotta tell you, it's looking good. So this stuff is super durable. It's 2-part, high heat, brushed on. It's got the same self-leveling technology as our clear coat does, so it lays out smooth. I mean, it literally, as you can see, looks like it was sprayed. What you over here doing, Nate?
I'm trying to figure out how to mount shoulder belts. First time somewhere. Test fit of the bar, make sure our belt placement would work. We're going to have a couple of different heights of drivers in here, so just trying to get to where it's best and safest for everybody.
You going up to O'Reilly's?
Yeah.
You ought to see if that rotor number shows up as anything. I don't know if you want to do rotors for it or not. I would attempt it.
Alright, after several trips to O'Reilly's, we finally got the right wheel bearings. We weren't able to source new rotors, but already had them in it, so we just decided to pack the old, new wheel bearings and put a new seal in it. Should be good enough for a burnout car. Okay, we got the bearings packed. Now we're going to tap in the seal with our approved socket. No, great. There you go.
All right, guys, so we're working on the burnout car right now, and one of the things we did is we retrofitted a Mustang 2 rack and pinion in it. We've had some hard times trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do for a tie rod end. I'm going to let Nate explain to you kind of what we've come up with.
All right, so we have a Mustang 2, around a 1976 rack and pinion that we custom made mounts, welded into the cross member. Got it fitting all nice and tight with a lot of custom work. Our problem ran into the tie rod ends. In order to find tie rod ends that were the right length to fit to the factory spindle, we ended up having to spend hours and hours at O'Reilly's and come up with 1976 Chrysler Cordova tie rod ends. That left us with the problem. The tie rod or the rack and pinion is too long. These are too long to make a complete system, so they'd be cut out. So we're going to have to shorten the rack and pinion, and in order to make a complete system, we're going to use these adjustable connectors. We'll put a band on it. One side will screw, this is the same thread, one side will screw here. We'll jam it with a jam nut. And this side will have a band. That way when we go get it aligned, you'll be able to get it pretty close. So as you can see, these are super long. We're going to cut them. I feel like we can cut them in half. The threads go about that deep in these, so we have a couple of these, but we might be able to get both sides done with one. So we're going to go over to the bandsaw, cut it in half, and then probably find out exactly where the thread's in and trim it back, and then that flat piece will go on this side after we trim this off, and then the band side will go on this side, and we should be good to go. Okay, so this shows 8 1/4, so we're going to cut it off at about 4 1/8, which is halfway, and see how much more we need to trim. See some precise measuring there. As you can see, we're right there.
That one got cut really crooked. We'll clean it up with this nut.
That's because Nate pulled me. The other one came off. That's because you was holding it. It had to be.
So the reason we left this nut on it was when you cut it with a die grinder like that and get a rough end, when you back this nut back off of it, it'll clean it right up. I like to do it while it's hot because the metal's still soft, What Jason and Nate are fixing to do is an alignment, complete total front end alignment, precision complete total front end alignment.
Professional.
Not really. We just need to get the tires a little bit straight. And they're going to put a square on each side, measure across, and is that right, Jason? Just get it close?
Yeah.
Close so it'll roll a little easier. Where we're going, we don't need no alignment. if it breaks, I'm not going anywhere near Jason for like a month. I'm gonna get out of the car, I'm gonna see Jason standing on the side, and I'm gonna go like this.
Brakes, I can say, hey.
Alright, so we got the precise alignment done. Check. So everything on this pacer, I mean everything, has been tight. Tight tolerances everywhere. I mean, I imagine if they thought we were going to put a turbo LS motor in it, they would have made the engine bay a little bigger. Come in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Look at the gap between our steering rod and our manifold. I know it's hard to see, but man, it is tight. And then get on up here to the back of our intake. We thought we were actually cutting to the inside of the car, but it's double walled there, so we did cut through the firewall, but it's not all the way inside the car. But everything around this thing you can see is just, and the more we bolt on, the more we put on, the tighter it gets. So what I'm doing here is marking out and making clearance for the radiator. I need 1 more inch of clearance for the radiator, so I've already got this side notched out. All right, so Jason and Nate and I are trying to figure out how we're going to mount the radiator. Take you guys in here. I had to notch out the chassis just a little bit on each side, over here as well. We got some foam fillers stuck in there, which actually worked out well because it fits tight and gets the radiator snug in there already. So now what we're going to try to do is figure out how to make a bracket. We've got some aluminum pieces we're going to use. Come over here and we're thinking attach right here. All right, so we had some of these. I forgot what they were for, but we had put them in the brake and we were going to make mounts for something, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, we had some over there. So at first I was thinking we would TIG weld it up here, but it's not long enough to come down here, so I'm going to take it over, and maybe if we cut this end off and get it set and lower, I might be able to get it low enough, or maybe we get it lower and bend it a little bit. I don't know. We'll figure out. I think we can make it work though. All right, so we've cut our brackets off right here at the top to set down in the top of the radiator, and I figured we would use this rear end that came out of the pacer. We figured this is probably about as useful as the rear end is that come out of the pacer, but I'm gonna stick this in here. I've already bent one of them over like that. I'll show you guys how I did it, because it's pretty, well, it requires some skills, what I'm trying to say. Harmon. Precise. All right, let's go see if it fits. All right, so we cut that bracket off. We got it bent, and I think it's going to work out perfect. We'll drill a hole right here, put a bolt through right here. We'll come up and TIG this. It'll hold the radiator both ways. The bottom's actually setting in the factory cups or mounts, so it's good. I think we'll just put one there, call it good. So I think what our plan's gonna be is we've got fans coming in shroud for this side. I think they're like 21 or 2200 CFM, but we know what, like, burnout car being all of this new to us. I think what the problem is going to be is the fact that we have no forward motion to speak of. We're spinning around in circles out there, so we're not forcing any air through the radiator. I know the fans are going to be pulling, but we talked about taking all of this out, and I think that's a good idea. We really don't need it now because all this extra support in here, I believe, is just because the hood opened this direction. Hinge forward, just kind of support all that. But if we remove this, we've got a wide open square in the middle. We might order one more really good pusher fan. I don't know that we're going to need it, but the plan might be order it, keep it in the box, put the puller fans on and go test and tune. If we have heating issues, then we'll be ready for we'll be ready to put the pusher fan in there. So probably wire this thing big enough wire, big enough relay, everything to run all 3 fans.
Yeah.
And then that way, if we need to, we can literally just pigtail them together. What do you think, Nate?
Wait. Yep.
That way, because literally, test and tune's going to be probably the day before we leave. You know, I don't know. So, but anyway, if it's all wired, ready to go, it wouldn't be that big a deal to put the pusher fan in if we have a cooling problem.
And you'll have the mystery.
Yeah, we're actually, I forgot about that. We're gonna run a water mister, like a porch type mister, if you will. Ice water tank in the back, plumb it up to the front. We'll go over that later when we start installing that. But we're gonna actually mist cold water in front of the radiator as well. But if we're not pulling enough air, it's not gonna do us any good. So we still might have to run all of that plus the pusher. I don't know. Forward.
Forward.
Slide back.
That's backwards.
Yep.
We'll get one snug and put it in so we know where it goes.